on January 2nd, then do you really belong as the number 2 seed? Do you really belong as a contender for the Super Bowl?
Right.
And I think that these next 2 games for me, I'm with you guys. I think the Titans can lose both games because the Titans have proven that they can lose to anybody. But I think that these 2 games, this for me is kind of the moment of truth where it's like if you lose to one of these 2 teams, then forget it. You're a pretender, not a contender. You take care of your business. Now let's talk about the AFC playoffs.
But, Jared, this is a different Miami football team. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you 100%.
But you just told me 5 minutes ago that they couldn't win if the Titans don't screw it up.
I'm just saying it's a little different. I mean, the Miami Dolphins earlier in the season couldn't find their identity. Now you're dealing with a team that has an identity that wants to go out and prove themselves. Now, if this was the Miami Dolphins team's way in the back, I wouldn't be concerned earlier in the season.
What is their identity?
Their identity is kind of like our identity. Their offense is struggling. Their offense is not going to beat you in different ways. We're just going to create turnovers on defense. Who leads the league in turnovers right now?
And turning it over?
And turning it over.
Do the Titans lead?
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I'm telling you, the Titans can screw this up. But you're talking about identity. And when I hear identity, I think of like the Titans' identity is running the football.
Right.
What's Miami's identity?
Miami's is getting Waddle the football and also, stopping you on defense, a bend and not break defense, a physical swarming
Which works
defense.
against Zach Wilson and the Jets, but is that going to work against Mahomes or when they play a good quarterback?
The interesting thing to all of this is that if the Titans are at the bottom, when it comes to turnovers, last year they were at the top of the league in turnover ratio, and the Vegas guys in assessing the Titans' fortunes for 2021 was that there'd be some regression because when you get that many turnovers, it's kind of a fluky thing, and there's just natural regression the next year. Yet the Titans have a chance to have a better record than last year. So this is again, and they lose Derrick Henry, and yet they have a chance to have a better record.
Wow.
But Jared, you're right. If they lose to the Dolphins, they sort of get what they deserve.
Oh, if they
win, because they're probably going to win the division anyway. But if they end up, with a bad seed, that's their fault.
If they lose one of these 2 games down the stretch, and they end up not as the number 2 seed, or they end up not as whatever, and I would expect that they would get beat in the first game here at Nissan Stadium. Like that would tell me that the Titans, unless Derrick Henry is that big of a difference, and Derrick's a big deal, but unless Derrick can carry the entire team throughout the playoffs, I would expect him to be one and done if they lose these 2 games or lose one of these 2 games. Because to me, it's all playoff football now.
Yes, it is.
I mean, and you're getting to play a team. If the playoffs were to start today, Miami would be coming in here to play the Titans. The playoffs start today. In all seriousness, they should have started against the Steelers, but they start today. And you got to beat these teams that aren't playoff teams before you can play the teams that are playoff teams. And so to me, I look at these next 2 games and I'm kind of like, okay, it's time to put up or shut up. It'll take you 4 wins, most likely, unless you can get the 1 seed. It'll take you 4 wins to win the Super Bowl. It'll take you 6 because you got to win these 2, then you got to win all 4 in the playoffs.
Well, also, too, are we going to, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, going to sit around and say, boy, it was pretty unrealistic that we expected Tannehill to turn it around even when Derrick Henry came back, as he maybe revealed his true self. So that's going to be an interesting part of this team, too. I think everybody is expecting maybe a little bit too much when Henry returns because I don't think realistically you can expect him to be at 100%, maybe 80%, maybe 75%. I mean, who knows? And Henry at 75% is still pretty good, but I still think people, feel like that's our ticket to the Super Bowl.
Well, that's a Cincinnati question. That's a New England question. Yeah. That's a Buffalo question, an Indianapolis question, a Kansas City question.
But
this the Dolphins.
Oh, I know, I know, but they're
yeah.
talking about this thing.
But isn't Miami
You're
thinking the exact same thing, that if we can't come in here and beat the Titans, that we don't deserve to be in the playoffs?
I think Miami's looking at the realistic nature of if they don't come in here and win this game, they're not going to make the playoffs.
That's what makes this team so dangerous. I'm not saying they're the most complete team. But you're dealing with a team that actually believes that they can win.
I just
That's
don't view.
I
think the Titans can lose to the Texans because I've already seen the Titans lose to the Texans. But that doesn't make me think the Texans are a dangerous team.
No,
you keep saying the Dolphins are dangerous.
No,
I don't think the Dolphins are dangerous.
Okay.
I think the Titans just flirt with danger too much.
I agree with you 100%. I'm going to tell you a story that every time I tell the story, I just want to fight somebody. Is in the year 2000, okay? We were the better team than Baltimore. I mean, in every facet of the game, we were better than Baltimore.
You comparing this Dolphin team to Baltimore.
No. I'm just talking about the momentum that's coming in. The Baltimore Ravens kind of stumbled to the playoffs, but they were hot at that time. And they were believing they can beat anybody. They came in and beat us. We had home field advantage. We were 13-3. We had 479 yards. They had 76. But when you have a team, Trent Dilfer was the quarterback. So when you have a team that believes that they can win, that believes that, whoever I'm in front of, I can beat, it's just a mentality. It's just something about that makes this game scary.
Well, I can't compare the mentality.
I covered that game. That was like the twilight zone. Your kicker, had been
absolutely,
having a pretty good year. Suddenly had the yips.
Let's get to move the change. We'll get to the 4 biggest stories of the game, and we'll do that next live from Boombox Craft Pizza and Tap House. It's already a feisty one to start the new year. It's the pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Shot by Forsberg to score. Johansson backhander, he scores. To put it away.
The Predators dominate the Blackhawks with a 6-1 victory on New Year's Day at Bridgestone Arena.
We found a way to win, and we'll take it.
Now they head west for a date with the Golden Knights in Vegas on Tuesday. Pregame at 8, puck drop at 9 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe of Darren, Donick, and Chase. I started my radio career as an intern right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game. Now we're looking for our next great batch of interns. You think that's you? Send your resume to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply today.
From curriculum-based literacy programs and sport leagues to college tours and workforce readiness tracks, Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provide a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Well, I'm sure you've probably heard of FanDuel Sportsbook by now, and they're making every moment more this season. Joe Rexrode here to let you know. First of all, FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. That means you can place all your bets on a trustworthy app that is also easy to use. Basketball fans, celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Plus, right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now's the perfect time. It's easy to use, like I said. Live betting, odds boosts, and specials. Fast withdrawals, you can get paid in as little as 2 hours. Example, Suns-Warriors game, a little same-game parlay, maybe a little over on the Steph Curry threes. A lot of things you can do on every day with FanDuel. If you already have it, you can get $50 when you refer a friend, and your friend will get $50 too. So see for yourself. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Sign up using promo code Joe102. Get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. That's promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager. Your only refund issued is now a drawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that the widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high probabilities for false negative readings. New COVID strands are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Don't wait. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Tune in to Stillman and Company every Friday at 5 o'clock.
I am glad to be on this show.
To hear from Nashville sports media personality Chad Withrow of Outkick 360.
He's 6'4", he's 260 pounds, he runs 21 miles per hour.
Brought to you by Apple Collision Centers.
This could be the best game of the weekend between these two teams.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company Fridays at 5.
Happy to join you guys every Friday.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie
bets. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Time to take a look at the 4 biggest stories of the game. Titans and Dolphins at Nissan Stadium. We're live at Boombox Craft Pizza in Tap House. It's time to move the chains. Presented by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. We start on first down.
First down.
A.J. Brown returned to the lineup, and boy, did he ever against the San Francisco 49ers, single-handedly in the second half, taking over the football game. It was an abysmal first half from the offense and another abysmal half from Ryan Tannehill, but they were locked in the second half. A.J. Brown, the star of the football game, and every time you look at it, 11 catches, 145, and the game-winning touchdown. Chris Sanders.
Yes, man.
How big of a difference was A.J., and how did it happen so quickly?
It was huge. I mean, just watching him play, you can see the confidence building with Tannehill because he knew that his guy was there. And we just needed a receiver to be in the right spot, make the play, and take the pressure off of Tannehill. I mean, even though you just said that, had 11 catches for 145 for a TD, but here's the most impressive part. Is 8 of those catches were on first down. And when you have a guy that makes plays like that and keep the chains moving, it just makes everybody better. And then I think the one play that I really, really love is when I think the 49ers jumped off sides and he threw the ball up and just let A.J. Brown just make a play. When a quarterback does that, basically he's saying, I trust you, I believe in you. And just watching Tannehill the whole game, every time he started looking for A.J. Brown, he started gaining confidence. And even that 11 or 12-yard touchdown that he threw to A.J. Brown.
Best ball he's thrown in a
Yes,
month.
sir. And the reason why he threw it like that is because he was throwing the ball with confidence. And the reason why he was doing that is because he had his main dog there, A.J. Brown.
I thought the last game against the 49ers was very revealing, because first of all, A.J. Brown comes back with a flourish. I mean, you saw, you're right. He made a better quarterback of Tannehill. But also, Julio Jones, we can now call him Julio with a W-H-O at the beginning of his name. Julio, because not only does he not produce, but Tannehill really doesn't look to him.
Yeah.
He was looking to A.J. Brown, and he was getting production. And even though everybody knew where the ball was going, A.J. still managed to make plays, which shows you, where he is in the pecking order among wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, and just looking at Tannehill, is he trusts A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown did some great things. I know everybody talks about the big plays that he made, but I want to talk about the little things that he did, like the curl that he ran. He came back to the ball, and then he ran the out route. He came back to the ball again, and then he caught the ball at the highest point. If you look at the other receivers like Fitzpatrick not coming back to the ball and, guys running the wrong routes and not making the plays, the reason why Tannehill started to gain more confidence is because now he has a receiver that are doing the little things to get open, and he trusts them.
That takes us to second down.
Second down.
Ryan Tannehill used to play for the Miami Dolphins. In 6 seasons with the Dolphins, Tannehill was 42, 46, and 0. He was 62.8%. Below his career number of 64%, 123 touchdowns, 75 interceptions with the Dolphins. So far this season, though, Tannehill has struggled, comparatively speaking, to his tenure with the Titans and even a little bit to his tenure with the Dolphins. Tannehill saying in the week that, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the same team that he left and things of that magnitude. Mark Howard, do we expect anything out of Tannehill against his former team?
The motivation question is an interesting one because there's really nobody left at Miami for Tannehill to be mad at. But
the owner,
the owner, and the media, because those were among his biggest disbelievers. So Tannehill, I don't know if he'll reveal it after the game. But I think Vrabel and some of those guys have been in his ear about maybe, how they were, talking bad about him on his way out of town and how we might want to remind him how good he can play.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's mad at a certain person. I just think that he wants to prove to that city and in that state that he could have played there. I mean, that everybody talks about added motivation. You better believe, I guarantee you, him being a competitor and him wanting to win, he wants to prove to them that I'm a good quarterback and you let me go and I'm upset. And that's okay to have because, when you have that kind of incentive and you have that chip on your shoulder, he's going to come up and try to light the Miami Dolphins up. Not that I'm mad at the person, not that I'm mad at the general manager, not that I'm mad at the coach. I'm just going to prove to you that I am a great quarterback regardless of what they said about me.
Like, Mark, wouldn't you say Barry Trotz is one of the nicest people you've ever met in your entire life?
Yes.
Don't you think he probably found a little enjoyment out of the year after the Predators lost the Stanley Cup, that he won it, and then after he got essentially shoved out the door in Washington, that he went to New York and he beat Washington and got the coach fired that they wanted instead of him, even though he is not a mean or vengeful person?
It was an interesting roller coaster that he rode, because the Predators, reached the Stanley Cup Finals, the year after he leaves. And listen, you're only human. I think when he won the Stanley Cup, I think that was just vindication for people around the league, who might not have totally respected him as a coach. I don't know if he didn't have a lot of bad feelings about Nashville. That was kind of sort of a mutual parting. But I don't know, because he saw the Predators, of course, reach the finals, and I'm sure that had to eat at him a little bit. But winning the cup was amazing for him.
I'm just saying, the little prove it to you. You
maybe
fired
a little
me.
bit.
You fired me because you wanted this coach, and I'm talking about when he beat Washington last year, and they fired the coach after that. Like, oh, you wanted me out to make my assistant the head coach, and now I beat him, and now you fired him. How's that feel? And I think that there's something to that with Tannehill, which is you wanted to tear this whole thing down because I wasn't good enough, and you wanted to build it around Tua. And now you've got your wish, and I'm going to the playoffs for the third year in a row, and I've got a hat and a T-shirt, and you guys are going home. How's it feel, owner?
Yeah. Can I share a story? And I never shared this.
Owner, fans, and media, by the way. But go ahead, Chris.
My bad. I never shared the story, and I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm going to say it. But when I first got to the Houston Oilers, the first person I met was Les Steckel, and Les Steckel met me in the parking lot. And he said this. He said, "Nobody in this organization wanted you but me." He said, I stood on the table and said that I want this guy from The Ohio State University. And all they kept saying, oh, he's raw. There's some other guys that's better than him. When he told me that, I walked in that first day of practice and I said, I'm taking somebody's position. I don't care who it is. I'm starting. I'm going to lead the league. I'm going to make all rookie team because I was so stinking. I want to cuss, but I'm not going to cuss. I was so.
That'd be the first time I've ever heard you.
I was so. I'm getting jacked up right now, but I was so pissed that they didn't want me. They did not want me. I'm like, hold up. I got 8 touchdowns. You don't want me. I'm going to go out there and prove it to you. And the reason why I'm going to go out there and prove it to you that I'm one of the best stinking receivers in this league is because you didn't want me. And Les Steckel said, I believe in you. You don't think those coaches are saying that I believe in Tua, that I believe in you, and those guys are going to believe that? I'm telling you, man. Hey, I'm getting riled up, man, because there's added motivation with Tannehill that says, you know what, you let me go. I'm going to go out there and prove to you that I'm going to run through your lips. Guys, darn it.
Can I ask you a question?
Ask me a doggone
30 years
question.
in review?
Yes.
You actually believe that?
Believe what?
That Les Steckel was the only one that wanted you?
He would never lie to me.
You think
100%.
Floyd's going to use a third-round pick on someone he doesn't want?
No, I don't think it was Floyd. I just think that Jerry Rome wanted a different receiver because he was the offensive coordinator at that time. I don't think it was more Floyd. Jerry Rome.
I was going to say, if you know Les, I believe it.
Les going to tell me.
I just can't see Floyd drafting somebody in the third round that he didn't want.
I think that the relationship that Les Steckel.
Then again, he drafted Lindell White in the second round. He didn't want him. So.
But I think that Floyd and Les Steckel had a good relationship.
Sure.
They trusted each other. So I don't think that Floyd didn't want me. Because I love Floyd. I love that dude. I just think that Jerry Rome wanted somebody else that wanted to fit the system that he was running.
That's probably true. I mean,
yeah.
I will say this. Les Steckel has also said on the record that he remembers, a meeting in Houston, a draft meeting in Houston where Les wouldn't say who, but there was a coach who did not want Steve McNair. And Floyd is not listening to that coach who didn't want Steve McNair. So that takes us to third down.
Third down.
COVID, It's hit the Titans. However, the Titans might be in okay shape. They've got the offensive line back, Taylor Lewan, Roger Saffold, and Nate Davis, all on the COVID list, now off the COVID list. Bud Dupree on the COVID list, now off the COVID list. Danico Autry, I believe, is off the COVID list, so he will play today. Julio Jones still on the COVID list, so he will not play today. But, Mark, it's having a ripple effect around the league, and maybe the Titans have avoided a COVID meltdown.
Absolutely insane. Yeah. And I don't, want to politicize this, but, if you didn't get vaccinated and you're not playing today or last week or next week, It's on you because you knew what the rules were.
What if you were vaccinated?
And this is how the unvaccinated group, this is how it's manifested itself. And but there have been vaccinated guys who are on the COVID list too. Yeah. But it's crazy, what's happening. But like I said, these guys knew what the deal was going into the season, and like it or not, this is what they're facing.
But what's crazy is when the Tennessee Titans get in the playoffs, and then 6 or 7 of your key guys get it. I mean, that's huge for a team. So I just think that with every team, they just got to go through the right protocols and make sure. I mean, you don't know if they're going to get it or not, but you just got to take every precaution to make sure that all your guys are healthy enough to get it and be all right.
It's an element that coaches worry about, and it drives them crazy because they can't control it.
Yeah.
And that takes us to our fourth and final down.
Fourth down.
The late John Madden passed away this week. John Madden working a handful of Titan games over the years. Chris, obviously, with the Oilers, played in a couple of those as well. But John Madden, one of the biggest figures in the history of the NFL, passing away 2 days after his debut of his documentary, All Madden. And a lot of people around the league really, really hurt over the loss of John Madden.
Yeah, I mean, you just love a guy that's just leaving a legacy, and there's some of the quotes that I love about him. And I always wanted to be on the Madden game, and I made it in 1995, so I was happy about that. But this is what I respect about this man. I know everybody talks about him being a great coach and a great leader and all these things, but I love some of the quotes that he said, and it said this. It says, "Always have class and be humble." And then he said this. This is the one that really gets me. It says, "Self-praise is for losers, so be a winner." I mean, when you have a guy that makes those quotes in that type of person that he is, it just shows you he didn't just leave an impact on the football field. He left an impact in everybody's lives.
It's an incredible story in this highly politicized world that we live in. Everybody agreed on Madden, about his greatness and his impact.
Yes.
And the other thing that impressed me was his reach, even after he left the game, and how just about everybody, Mike Vrabel included, talked about the text messages Madden would send them. John Harbaugh still has the voicemail that Madden left him and the text, and says he'll always keep them. What he meant to the coaches of today, just giving them encouragement after tough losses or after great wins, meant the world to them. We all grew up watching Madden on TV, and just how great he was. The next person who achieves more than Madden, none of us will be on this earth. Worked for all 4 networks. That'll never happen again. His legacy is the Madden video game.
But I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, on the other side, we'll take a look at the Titans on offense as they get set to take on the Dolphins. We'll go inside the playbook. We're live from Boombox Craft Pizza and Tap House. It's a pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Coming up next hour on NFL Pregame, Jared, Chris, and Mark go inside the playbook, inside the sportsbook, and get an update from the stadium with ESPN's Tyron Davenport. It's NFL Pregame on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at the Game. Nashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands, now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress, now $300. $200 bar stools, now for $59. $1,000 sofas, now $499. And recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Well, here we are at Pour Vu. Any great words of wisdom as we peruse the 10,000 square feet of wine, spirits, beers for our tailgating?
Great minds drink alike, huh?
Nice. Wow, look at all the wine.
Hey, don't forget to buy a bottle from Mom. Remember, you're the reason she drinks.
Hey,
check it out. Pour Vu has their own app, curbside, and home delivery. Tonight, I will be having my favorite drink. It's called A Lot.
I only drink on days that begin with T. Today, tomorrow.
Well, you're in luck because Pour Vu's new tasting bar is in effect Thursday through Saturday, right next to the humidor.
Party supplies with mixers, hard to find small batch specialties, and tequila.
I am telling you, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy tequila, and that's kind of the same thing, right?
Tequila, because no good story ever starts with that one time I ate salad.
Right? Pour Vu means for you. They really have the best selection, service, and knowledge we didn't find at the big box stores.
May all your days be filled with umbrella drinks.
Pour Vu, open 7 days a week at Indian Lake Boulevard, exit 7 off Vietnam Vets in Hendersonville.
When Nashville is in need for tire sales or service for their business, the Tire Man has been there for over 20 years to help. The Tire Man repairs new and used tires for construction equipment, dump trucks, 18-wheelers, box trucks, fleets, plus they sell new tires for vehicles of all sizes. When your company needs tires, call the Tire Man, 615-663-6040, where they come to you, fully licensed and insured, and they can't wait to work with you. That's the Tire Man at 615-663-6040.
What are the keys to victory on the offensive side of the ball for the two-tone blue? Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard go inside the playbook. Brought to you by E2 Roofing. This is the NFL Pregame on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Inside the Playbook is brought to you by E2 Roofing. Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing, a veteran-owned and operated local Nashville roofer. Chris Sanders, calling plays today against the Dolphins. Is there any play in there that is not 29 Eagles shoot, zig wide, double queen swig, which is one way of saying get the ball to A.J. Brown, get the ball to A.J. Brown, and get the ball to A.J. Brown?
Oh, you got to get A.J. Brown. I mean, he's your big play wide receiver, and we just saw the impact that he made, last week against the 49ers. But you better believe they got a cornerback, Howard. Xavier Howard is pretty good. They may match him up with him and may double A.J. Brown. But, away from that, I agree with you. They need to get him the ball, but I think we have to establish the run, or the Tennessee Titans have to establish the run. And because the weather's going to be kind of bad, and I think they need to keep two of them off the field, so I think they should run the ball immediately.
Well, they have two good corners.
Yeah.
And Xavier Howard is a guy, though, that's going to be on A.J. Brown.
Yes.
He's a guy. A.J. Brown has to be very precise in his routes today because Xavier Howard loves to jump the route and go for the interception. He is a gambler, but he's been pretty successful. Byron Jones, also very good.
Absolutely.
And they have a young safety, Javon Holland, up and coming, who's speedy, kind of a center fielder like Kevin Byard, and a playmaker. And this is what the Dolphins have been able to do, is take the ball away. I agree with Chris. I think the Titans are going to be run first today.
Sure.
Throw to your tight ends, maybe screen, with your backs. I think the screen game is going to be pretty prominent today. But, yeah, of course, they're going to take their shots with A.J., and well, they should. But I do think they're going to try to set him up.
So I have a couple thoughts, and the first one is I'm done with the screens for two reasons. Number one, they don't execute them well enough. But really the more important thing that's bothering me with the screens,
what's that?
Tannehill throws it no matter what. So, they will run a screen, and there will be a linebacker or a defensive end that reads the screen and peels off and is standing right next to the running back 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And Tannehill throws the ball to the running back, and, like John Madden would say, boom, a guy just comes up and hits him, and it's like a loss of 4. And that's happened 3 times over the last 2 games. So if Tannehill can't see that and throw it at the running back's foot, then I'm not calling any more screens. I agree with you guys about running the football. What I want to know is how stupid was San Francisco on Thursday night with how they covered A.J. Brown in that second half when they realized how he was going to take over the game. And the fact that I can't imagine Brian Flores is going to let that happen today.
I mean, the 49ers secondary was terrible. They had a rookie starting and the other 3 starters were out. So, and then they went man-to-man
Can we double him, though?
Man-to-man. I was looking at that, too. They were going man-to-man coverage. And he after the 7th ball, the 7th ball that he caught, I'm taking him out the game.
But on that touchdown, Chris, they ran that double post.
Yeah.
With Michael Pruitt.
Yeah.
And Pruitt was better covered than A.J. was. I didn't get that.
I know. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, like if this were basketball, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that A.J. Brown is Michael Jordan, but on the Titans offense, he might as well be. And it's like, all right, we got to worry about Stacey King and John Paxson and Steve Kerr and Michael Jordan. And let's worry about them equal. And that doesn't make any sense. And that's why I'm convinced Brian Flores is not going to let Ryan Tannehill throw the ball to A.J. Brown on every play.
And then what does that do if they take out A.J. Brown? Then those other receivers got to step up. I don't know if Rodgers or whoever's playing.
Rodgers, Westbrook, Akina, Hollister, all those guys should be available today.
And they're going to try to take A.J. Brown. So somebody's going to have to step up and make plays. I mean, because just like what you said, Josh Boyer is the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. He's not going to let you do that. He's going to take your best guy out, and he's going to send pressure. So those other guys have to figure out the way to get open. Todd Downing has to make sure he puts these guys in position, go a 3-by-1, let A.J. Brown be the single receiver, and let those other guys work with those rub routes. So somebody's got to make some plays.
No, I agree with everything you say, and it's going to be interesting today to see how well Tannehill plays, because I think he should play well today. He's going to have a running game. The Dolphins have a very good defensive line. They're not as good at the second level. They have one, pretty good cover linebacker, really, but Baker. But beyond that, you can beat them. With the short passes and the underneath stuff.
And I think with Tannehill, he's got to make sure he knows where the pressure's coming from. I mean, if it's coming from the boundary, when I say the boundary, it's the short field. So he's got to make sure he knows who's coming, know where the pressure's coming. And then also, too, he can't get confused with the front, because they're going to have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, and you think that they're rushing 7, drop and rush 3. So he's got to make sure he knows and sets the front and make sure that he knows where the pressure's coming from.
What do we think about the running game? It was not very effective. We've seen the Titans run the football with these running backs all over the Patriots. We saw them run it with these running backs, especially Foreman, all over the Steelers. And while they had a nice drive once they got A.J. going, where McNichols and Foreman carried the football pretty well for a couple of carries up the middle, led to a Foreman touchdown against San Francisco, they did not run the ball effectively against the 49ers. Now, they were in there with a depleted offensive line. What do we think about the Titans if they try to establish the run with Deontay Foreman today against the Dolphins?
I think it'll be better. It's not going to be prolific. I think it'll be good enough that it can set up play action for Tannehill, which is, what he does best. Let's face it. The 49ers have a pretty stout defensive front. Miami is pretty good, but the interior is a little bit soft against the run. So we'll see how, they can fare against Miami's defensive tackles. And that ought to be interesting. Christian Wilkins and Raekwon Davis are decent, but I think the Titans can block them.
I mean, we just need a solid day from the 3 guys. I mean, Foreman last week, he had 17 yards. Here, had 20. McNichols had 31. So if you just get solid contribution from all 3 of those guys and keep the chains moving, I think they'll be all right. But the one thing they definitely cannot do is, they were behind the chains a lot last week. It was 3rd and 26, 3rd and 22. So there's so many things you can do, and that's why those numbers were so low.
I think Brett Kern is a real asset for the Titans today because, like I said, the Dolphins have profited with short fields, with turnovers or poor punting or whatever. And Kern usually, is a huge asset in terms of making the team drive the length of the field.
If your Vrabel today is running and punting on the menu, I know we want to see them throw the ball to A.J. Brown. This isn't the same as the Steeler game where you literally could have said, okay, run it 3 times, punt, just don't let Ben go, get a short field. Because A.J.'s out there, you do want to be aggressive throwing the ball to A.J., but at the same time, I'm kind of in agreement with you, Mark, that is, if I'm going to lose to the Dolphins today, Tua's going to march down the field and beat me. I am not giving Tua the ball at my own 47. I'm not doing that and letting them win the game that way. And so I do wonder if you're Vrabel, if you get 2 yards on first down, that doesn't necessarily mean go away from the run, because punting is not the end of the world.
Well, you went to Louisville, so you can appreciate this. If there was ever a horses for courses coach, it's Mike Vrabel. In other words, you never really try to see the Titans be what they're not, based on the personnel they have out there.
Sure.
And what you were saying, perfectly applies to today.
You know, just like what you say, Jerry, you say this all the time, and I love it when you said, run, punt. I mean, it's okay if you do that, because if you look at, I think it was about 3 years ago, they went up and they played, I think it was the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns, everybody's talking about they're good on offense, they're good on defense, all this crazy stuff. All of a sudden, you know, you have Kern kicking, a 60-yard punt, and they have it at the 2-yard line. You get a safety. That's how the Tennessee Titans can create points.
So I think that run, punt is an effective strategy against any team that doesn't have a quarterback that you feel can beat you. Right. And I go back to when Jacksonville had that one magically good season. Out of all their terrible seasons, they had that AFC Championship season. And in it, Jacksonville beat everybody except for the Titans. Because every time the Titans would play them, this is when Mike Mularkey was the coach, every time the Titans would play them, they'd run 3 downs and then punt. They just run, punt, run, punt, and the ball would go right back into the hands of Bortles. When everybody else would play them, they'd try to play their style of football. So the Steelers would play them, and Big Ben's trying to chuck it down the field to Antonio Brown, and they got those pass rushers and Jalen Ramsey, and they'd pick you off, and they'd sack you, and you'd fumble, and all these things. The next year, the Titans go to Jacksonville, same team. Mariota's in the game at quarterback. He can't throw. His elbow's not working. And they just run, punt, run, punt. And they put the ball in the hands of Blake Bortles, which is exactly what the Titans tried to do against New England a couple weeks ago, was run, punt, put the ball in the hands of Mac Jones. Titans just screwed it up, missing field goals, not getting lined up for a punt, turning the ball over. I feel that way about Tua. And we'll get into Tua, but I feel that way from the offensive strategy that is, if Tua comes in here and throws for 350 yards and I lose because Tua throws for 350 and 3 touchdowns, then congratulations to the Dolphins, and they had a magical turnaround season. If I lose the game because Tannehill throws the ball to Racey McMath and he fumbles, I'm going to have a problem with that. And I wonder how much Vrabel thinks about that as far as his strategy is concerned.
That's good, man. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Set it off.
You're right.
But for some reason, I'm not sure I can trust the Titans to always do what they're supposed to do.
I'm glad you worked Racey McMath into this show.
I know.
He's going to be out there, guy. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but he's going to play. Like, Ferkser stinks, and he's going to play. Swaim stinks, and he's going to play. Like, that's who, other than AJ, that's who's going to be out there. We'll turn it around to the other side of the ball, Titans defense.
Oh, my goodness.
Boy, they made Jimmy Garoppolo. Either they made Jimmy Garoppolo look bad or Jimmy Garoppolo stinks, and I think it's probably somewhere more towards Jimmy stinks, but that's neither here nor there. Coming up next, what do they have to do against Tua and the Dolphins? We'll get into that. We'll turn it around. It's the pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Can the Titans take care of business in a key AFC matchup against the Dolphins?
End zone throw open, and Hollins has a Dolphin touchdown.
Or will Miami play spoiler at Nissan Stadium?
Bring it on, chop. Let's go.
Tune in all day Monday for full reaction to Titans Dolphins. Talking Titans on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. With Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, get a unit that lasts with their 10-year parts and labor warranty. Get ahead of the game now and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no-interest financing and 10 years parts and labor warranty on all new units. Restrictions apply and not available on all equipment. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's. Jasper's is a casual restaurant and bar located on West End Avenue, equipped with TVs, a game room available for private events, a grab-and-go market, and free parking. Yes, free parking. This neighborhood spot is Nashville's new go-to restaurant and bar. You can try their selection of elevated bar food ranging from appetizers to chicken sandwiches to flatbread pizzas and the famous Smash Burger, as well as any of their delicious cocktails. So visit my friends at Jasper's, located at 1918 West End Avenue, and tell them that Robbie sent you.
Yo, this is Justin from Music Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
Jared Stillman.
Football season, and then football season becomes hockey season, and then it becomes draft season, and then it becomes hockey playoff season.
And company.
Maybe this is something to just get people a little bit interested.
It's a matter of not having too many chefs in the kitchen.
Catch Stillman and Company on your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
And I can spot it from a mile away.
Watch live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. What are the keys to victory on the defensive side of the ball for the two-tone blue? Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard go inside the playbook. Brought to you by E2 Roofing. This is the NFL Pregame on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Inside the Playbook, brought to you by E2 Roofing. Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing, a veteran-owned and operated local Nashville roofer. COVID list for Danico Autry, he's off it. COVID list for Bud Dupree, he's off it. COVID list for Buster Screen, he's off it. And by the way, let me say, Buster Screen has played pretty well since the Titans went out and got him. He may be the new Rod Hood, the guy on the street who's better than all the other guys anyways. But the Titans should be at full strength today defensively for the most part against the Miami Dolphins. I keep wondering this question because I think this is the question the Dolphins themselves probably wonder a little bit too. Is Tua any good?
He's carrying that offense. I'll say that much. Listen, Tua has gotten a lot better. I think some of the criticism is unfair because he doesn't have a really good running game around him. So a lot of it's on his shoulders. They're throwing the ball 65% of the time on first down. So if he throws incomplete, they're already in the hole and playing behind the chains.
They have the 8th most attempts in the NFL.
Yeah. He's a guy, though, that has been very elusive. He goes, out of the pocket. What sort of surprised me was I didn't realize that he's only 6 feet tall. For some reason, I thought he was taller. But whatever the case, the Titans need to keep him in the pocket. And, he has a way of evading defenders. But this is going to be a good test, for Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry in that interior rush. The Dolphins do not have a very good offensive line, and the Titans can exploit that.
I mean, just looking at it, I was watching when they played the Saints last week. He just looks uneasy in the pocket. Mm-hmm. He looks very uneasy. He doesn't look comfortable. And just like what Mark said, I agree with him 100%. They have a struggling offensive line with Jackson, Hunt, and Davis. So when you're feeling pressure all the time and you're consistently getting hit, you're going to make some bad decisions. I know he's completing 70% of his passes, but he has 9 interceptions. But just watching him, he just doesn't look comfortable.
And before we get all excited about the 70%.
I know.
It is dink. Listen, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
It's dink and dunk. A lot of screens to Jalen Waddle and hope that he can break it. Because, what I saw at the beginning of the season, if you saw the game in London, for instance, about just how inaccurate he is throwing the ball long. Yeah. It surprised me, the lack of touch on his passes. But they've gotten him in a situation where he can be comfortable and successful. Sans a running game. I mean, they just really don't have a threat to run the football, and yet he's managed to lead them to 7 straight wins. You got to give him credit.
I mean, think about this, though, like with Tua. Going back to, the hype, the Dolphins tore down their entire organization to be able to get Tua. And then they got him, and the other 2 guys I'd much rather have than Tua. I mean, Burrow is a stone-cold assassin at quarterback, and Herbert, looks the part of a future franchise quarterback. And Tua, I'm not sure. Since Tua's left Alabama, the guy who replaced Tua at Alabama, I think is probably better than Tua, or I'd rather have quarterback my team than Tua.
Yeah.
And the guy who replaced Tua, I think, is probably going to be a better NFL quarterback than Tua. I just don't see NFL quarterback. I think you guys are right. Like, he's too small, and I don't think he's confident. I don't think he makes confident throws in the NFL. I think he's trying to do what he did at college, which is fine when everybody on the field is better than everybody else on the other team on the field. And I just don't think that's going to work in Miami.
Chris, a little unfair because I don't know if he's not an NFL quarterback. I don't know if he's an outstanding NFL quarterback.
Right.
I think he's a guy, who's going to stay in the league for a while, and he might end up like Mariota, like a really good backup. A guy who goes in for a few games, thrills you, and everybody says, why isn't he starting somewhere? Like they do with Mariota. But I think it's I think
like Todd Blackledge in '83 compared to Dan Marino and all those other guys.
Todd Blackledge was a bust. I don't think you can classify Tua as that. And the other thing, real quick, and then I'll defer to Chris, is that this guy has faced nothing but negativity.
Right.
Like midway through his rookie season, Jared, it's like the Miami media got buyer's remorse. I mean, I couldn't believe it that they already wanted to dump the kid. I mean, I grew up, back in the Stone Age, in an era where quarterbacks got 5 years. That doesn't happen anymore, and I get that. But I think people have been a little quick on the trigger about Tua. Give him a running game,
I agree.
And then we can evaluate him.
Just when he first got in the league, we got to remember that he came in with an injury. I mean, he wasn't 100%. So he's still trying to feel his way. And just watching him now, he is improving. I mean, he is improving on his throws. He's improving on reading coverages and defenses. But there's still something that's missing. If I can say, there's still something that, he doesn't feel comfortable in the pocket or, just like you said, doesn't have a running game or his offensive line is struggling. But once he gets those elements, then maybe that confidence will build.
Well, to me, it's the same thing with Mariota.
True.
Where we look at each other and say, why isn't he a more accurate passer?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I know he's completed 70%, but if you watch his body of work, it becomes a little less impressive.
Now, there is one guy on the field who can single-handedly beat the Titans, and it's Jalen Waddle. And so I do wonder, Chris Sanders, if you're Mike Vrabel, what is your plan today on Jalen Waddle?
I think your leader of your defense has got to figure out where he is on the field. You have to. If he's in a slot or he's playing wildcat, wherever he's at, you got to figure out a way to double it.
Do you cat cover him with Christian Fulton?
I would say Fulton and maybe like Molden. Molden. Have one of those guys because you have two quick guys that can change directions. You don't want to have two slow guys on them that can't change directions. So you just got to figure out on defense where he's at and figure out what you're going to do with defense. You're going to have to bracket him some way. When I say bracket, you have a guy over top and the other guy underneath that's trailing him. So you got to make sure you figure out where he's at so he doesn't beat you on the big plays.
Yeah, they have Gesicki, they have Bryant, Gesicki is a guy you got to watch really in the red zone, but he's a good athlete. Titans are going to put Jared Cunningham or Byard on him, and that should take care of it. But
Would you put Crunkshank on him?
What?
Would you put Crunkshank on
I wouldn't put Crunkshank on the field.
I was hearing last week they are just pumping him up like he's the savior.
Who's they?
Like Mike Vrabel was talking about how good he's playing.
Oh, yeah. No, I would not put Crookshank on the field.
Yeah, and when they go three safeties, Crookshank plays well. When they go two safeties.
Thank you.
I wouldn't be banking on Crookshank there. What do we think of the Titans' pass rush with everybody but Dupree's back, Danico Autry off the COVID list against this Miami offensive line and what that could do to Tua?
That you've got to include the Titans' Rookie of the Year. Yeah, Naquan Jones.
Oh, I was going to say, like, who
the undrafted
they got
guy.
Anybody on the rookies that are doing anything?
For all the draft picks everybody talks about, Naquan Jones has been a revelation. But I wanted to mix his name in because he's been playing phenomenally. But even with Autry back, the Titans have depth today. So there's no reason why, these guys on the – and Dupree, they have ramped up his snaps, the last 2 weeks. So we could see Dupree on the field a lot more today than we have probably ever since he's been a Titan. So they should be able to get to the quarterback. Bad pass pro on the side of Miami.
Yeah, and just listening to Byard when he was talking, he said we're finally finding our identity. And the reason why they're finding their identity is because now you're getting key guys back. Bud Dupree, man, when he's on the field, he just wrecks the whole offense. And when you have him, the leader of your defense, and then everybody's back with Autry, Simmons, Landry, this is a swarming defense. This is a fast defense. This is a defense that's going to punish the quarterback and put pressure and make the quarterback make mistakes. Unbelievable.
Glad you mentioned swarm, because the Titans, the last 3 games, have only allowed 52 yards after contact, which is the best in the NFL. And it just shows you, and I think Vrabel said it in a press conference when they asked him, and this goes back to the Steelers game, when they missed Najee Harris on one of his carries, 3 guys missed. He said, I love the swarm, but I didn't like the tackle. But he loves the swarm, and that's what they're doing right now. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. I mean, the only thing I'm just a little concerned about is the back end. I mean, in the back end, I don't know who's playing the corner, but Waddle, we don't want Waddle to take the top off the defense or catch like a 6 or 7 yard in and take it the distance and give us the explosive play. If the Tennessee Titans don't allow that and put pressure on Tua, I think they're going to get about 6 or 7 sacks today. That's because that's how bad their offensive line is.
You heard what Vrabel said about Naquan Jones this week, right?
What did he say?
Vrabel was asked how Naquan Jones has worked his way into the lineup and all that. He said, well, he really showed up when he ran his fat ass to the football.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason why he wasn't drafted. He was a little bit overweight, but the Titans scouts looked beyond that because they saw something in him.
It took me about 2 games to realize that Naquan Jones was better than Daquan Jones.
Yes.
Oh. That was pretty simple for me.
Funny.
Coming up on the other side, who's in, who's out for the Titans? I got some good news in that regard. And what's Mike Vrabel's keys to the game? That's coming up. We're live at Boombox Craft Pizza and Tap House. It's the pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are 2 guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology, but we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value, for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Joyland is a fun new concept by Chef Sean Brock, designed to spread joy. Joyland is the new fast food, inspired by Chef Brock's love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. The burger melts in your mouth, the fries are crispy goodness, and the milkshakes are sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Gosh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Joyland is now open in East Nashville, serving handhelds, grab-and-go items, milkshakes, and more in their modern and vibrant space. Find some joy today and eat Joyland.
Nashville Soccer Club. Feel the excitement.
Sapong returns to Layal, scores!
Of Major League Soccer.
It's a good cross. It's a headed goal.
In the Music City.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Nashville is home for me.
Your home for every moment of the action is Nashville's home for ESPN Radio.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Nashville wins it.
NFL pregame is on.
Time to take a look at who's in and who's out the inactive list. And Mike Vrabel's keys to the game are brought to you every week by the Hillside Medical Clinic here on the pregame show, live from Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House. Out for the Titans today, corner Chris Jones, corner Greg Maben, outside linebacker Derek Roberson, and defensive lineman Laurel Murchison are the only inactives for the Titans today. Now, Jim Wyatt points this out, and it should be noted, Julio Jones, Jayon Brown, and Kendall Lamb are all out today as well with COVID-19. So even though you don't see a big name in the inactives, Julio and Jayon are out. I'll say this, though. Jayon Brown, to me, and now you can never have enough depth in the NFL. And so you get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden, knock on wood, something happens to one of these linebackers. Jayon is very clearly number 4 to me with the middle linebacker rotation because I think Evans is playing okay ever since, they brought in Zach Cunningham. But I think Cunningham is better than Jayon. And I certainly think David Long Jr., who will make his return to the lineup today, I think he is better than Jayon Brown as well. So this may be the healthiest the Titans have been in months.
I think, absolutely. But I think we're seeing the Titans' interior linebacking pair in Jared Cunningham and David Long Jr. Listen, I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time, but I think, and that's the thing with John Robinson. He got nothing from his draft class, nothing, but he went out and brought in Buster Screen. He got, as I mentioned, Naquan Jones, undrafted, and he got Jared Cunningham. And those are Zach Cunningham, rather. Those are 3 quality additions to your team. You're talking about 2 guys who they plugged in as starters and another rotational guy, who has played some meaningful downs. So those are 3 important starters or impact players, which is basically what you expect from your draft class. So whatever way they did it, he managed to make his team better.
I mean, he did make his team better. Zach Cunningham, I mean, I respect Brown, and, he's made some big plays for this Tennessee Titans defense. But I just think Zach Cunningham brings a different element. I mean, his instincts, he reads what the linemen are doing, and he attacks. I think Brown is an undersized linebacker that just happens to make plays.
Let's have a moment, by the way, to salute a player that we have disparaged the whole season.
I know who you're going with.
And Dylan Radins, give him credit, man. He wasn't Taylor Lewan, or he wasn't an all-pro out there last week, and they gave him some help, but he didn't suck.
So I think Pro Football Focus came out and said that Dylan Radins gave up like 5 pressures, a sack. I mean, now again, I don't bow at the altar of Pro Football Focus. I mean, I think Radins is pretty terrible, and I think he kind of showed out to be kind of terrible on Sunday. I'm glad he won't have to play today. I'll leave it at that. And I thought Chad Withrow had the best line, which was Titan fans and Titan media pretending that a second-round pick is Rudy Rudiger after his performance on Thursday Night Football, I thought was very apropos.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, okay, like I said, you can't get too excited.
Yeah.
But he went up against one of the best pass rushers, in the league, in Bosa, and he held his own.
Did you hear what Vrabel said after the game?
What?
So Mike Keith asked him, I was driving home, and Mike Keith said, how impressed were you with Dylan Radins? And Vrabel starts telling a story about, to be standing there at the top of the tunnel at the locker room, to see how happy Dylan was to be a part of our team victory today. I was just really happy for him. That was what he said. I mean, he did not go out of his way to talk about how well he played.
But they gave him some help. I think Todd Downing put him the formation.
He just fell down.
I know.
All he did was go right at the ankles of Bosa every time. He got called for a chop block on a play that they didn't even run towards his side. But he didn't get the game. He didn't lose you the game.
Jared, as long as he gives it
exactly.
That I will give. It reminds me of Jameel Douglas when Jameel Douglas got a game ball after that first win against Cleveland, and people were like, "Hey, Jameel Douglas is okay." And then next thing you know, they're going up against the Colts and the Jags, and Jameel Douglas is an unmitigated liability on the defensive side of the football. Inactives today for the Dolphins. I don't know what positions a lot of these guys play, which tells me I don't know much about them. Trill Williams is out today for the Dolphins.
The trill of it all.
That trill of it all.
Salvon Ahmed is out. Darius Hodge is out. Vince Beagle is out. Cameron Tom looks like an offensive lineman, 64. He's out. And tight end Hunter Long is out today for the Dolphins, so no big names.
So Beagle is out?
I guess he's out.
I'm just kidding.
What are they going to do about that? Time now for Mike Vrabel's Keys to the Game, also presented by Hillside Medical Clinic. And we talk about how to get that pass rush against the Dolphins.
They blitz, they're disruptive. They play the run and then transition quickly. Obviously the edge guys, Agba, Phillips, because those are guys that are tough to handle. They're long, they're fast. They'll bring, Baker, they'll bring, Jones, and they do a great job, obviously, in coverage with the guys they have, with Howard and Jones out there, really just playing sound, square, physical. We have to be careful when we throw it their direction.
So there you go, the Dolphins pass rush against the Titans. Jalen Phillips is a guy we talked about a lot during the draft time about the Titans perhaps being able to get him. He went before the Titans could. How worried are we? We talk about how excited we are for Dylan Radins, who won't be in there today, but how worried are we about the Dolphins pass rush? Because if there was a key to losing this game, Ryan Tannehill getting spooked and throwing the ball to the other team would be number one.
Yeah, Phillips has 9 sacks. Agba has 9. Phillips has 8.5. And that just illustrates how good these bookends are at defensive end. And you're right. It's a big game for the tackles. Questenberry has got to be better. They're going to give him help today, I'm sure. And Lewan's got to hold up. It's as simple as that.
I think the two most important people on the offense right now is going to be Tannehill and Jones. And the reason why I say Tannehill and Jones is Jones has got to recognize the front. He's got to recognize the front because they're going to have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, and you're going to think they're going to rush 7, and they back out and rush 3. So Tannehill's got to know where the pressure's coming from and know who's blitzing. So if they can do that and pick that up, I think the Tennessee Titans can be successful. I understand they got some guys that can rush the quarter, some guys that got a lot of sacks. But if they just figure out where the pressure's coming out, figure out what the secondary's doing, figure out what front it is, I think the Tennessee Titans can be successful running the ball and passing the ball.
Also out for the Dolphins today, corner Noah Igbenogany is out with COVID, and corner Sheldrick Redwine is out today with COVID.
Igbenogany was a guy we thought might go here.
Well, they had 3 first-round picks, Tua, the tackle, and Igbenogany, and I'm not sure they're going to get any bang for their buck with any of those 3 picks.
Well, they're pretty deep at corner, and you got to be happy about that.
I know, but when you have 3
2 legit corners.
When you trade away Mika Fitzpatrick and you get all these picks, you got to get starters. You got to get players that can come in and play. And they really didn't. They really haven't done that. They used the pick that they got from the Texans last year, and they traded that to get 2 first-rounders in addition from the 49ers, and then they traded one of those away to move up and get Jalen Waddle. And the Eagles, who they traded with, just stood there and took Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith might be better than Jalen Waddle.
And remember 2 years ago, there were guys who wanted to get out of Miami. Guys were running for the exits.
Oh, yeah.
Minka Fitzpatrick leveraged his way out, but they traded a couple of other guys who wanted to get out.
Tunsil.
And Flores, to his credit, and you have heard good, you've heard not so good, but he's got them at least in position to maybe make the playoffs, which is way ahead of where they thought this team would be this year.
And what's amazing too is nobody thinks they're set at quarterback.
That's
like
crazy.
they tear it all down. This is how crazy the NFL is. They tear it all down in Miami in order to build around Tua. They draft Tua. Then they realize a year in he may not be very good. They were pulling him out of the game last year to put Ryan Fitzpatrick in, which is an absolute no-no when it comes to a young quarterback.
Name me more than 5 markets where the fan base or the media is happy with its quarterback. Really.
Not too many.
You just don't hear many.
Okay, but for the head coach to be yanking the quarterback out of games last year like Brian Flores was,
he did. He was a rookie.
That to me, that is you talk about the no-nos, working with Floyd for 5 years, there's a handful of things that I feel like are absolute no-nos to me. And if you make the switch to quarterback and then you start yanking him out of the game, remember when they made Vince Young the quarterback? And they had Kerry Collins, and it wasn't.
Yes.
If Jeff Fisher had turned around and said, "I think I got a better chance to win this one game with Kerry," and had put Kerry in, I think Floyd would have fired him. Like, that's how he felt about yanking the quarterback in and out like that. And they did that last year to Tua, and it clearly didn't help Tua's confidence. And then Tua goes in all offseason with the talk about them trying to acquire Deshaun Watson. And then that even continues into the season where you got reports out that the owner, if Watson settles with the women, then the owner will accept a trade for Watson, and Tua's got to do it. They don't want Tua there.
Okay, you remember what we said at the beginning of the show, motivation. All that stuff that you said, he's hearing.
Tua?
Yes.
Sure.
And that's why, and I'm not saying he's going to light up the Tennessee
But I don't
Titans.
think he's good enough to make it.
I don't think it's. I agree with you 100%. He's not good enough.
And I think the reason that they wanted him because they thought when he was in college he was good enough.
Yeah.
And now I think they sit there every day and they spank themselves on the rear end for not drafting Justin Herbert.
But don't you think this is a prove-it game?
This game?
Yes.
No.
For Tua. I mean,
No.
if Tua goes in here and beats the Tennessee Titans, do you think all that Watson stuff will quit?
No.
That's a big question. I don't know.
I don't think a regular season game against the Titans.
Yeah, but it's not. No. It's not just a regular season. It's about playoffs. It's about playoff situations. I'm just telling you, this is one of those prove-it games.
I think once you make up your mind on a quarterback, it's really hard for you to then change your mind in the other direction.
Which is what they did with Tannehill.
It's exactly what they did with Tannehill. And they looked like idiots for the first year and a half after that. And now Tannehill might be.
It's funny. I remember listening to Lebatard's show.
The who?
Last year, Dan Lebatard.
Oh, okay.
Who used to be on ESPN. And every week, every Monday, I couldn't wait to listen when Tannehill had a good day. They go, man, he didn't look anything like it here in Miami.
TD will join us next live from Nissan Stadium. We'll get to Tyron Davenport. We're live from Boombox Craft Pizza and Tap House. It's the pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress now $300. $200 bar stools now for $59. $1,000 sofas now $499, and recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and I'm sure you've probably heard of FanDuel Sportsbook by now, and they're making every moment more this season. First off, FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and that means you can place all your bets on a trustworthy app that's also easy to use. And basketball fans, you can also celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook as well. And right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get to $1,000 back. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. They've got great live betting options, great odds boosts, and specials every single day. There's no better place to bet on the NBA and the NFL than FanDuel Sportsbook. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up using promo code ROB to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
It's game day for the two-tone blue. And we're inching closer to kickoff. This is the NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, forever receiver Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. Now, let's get an update from the stadium with ESPN's Tyron Davenport, brought to you by Freedom Tire Guys on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Titans and Dolphins getting ready to take off in less than an hour and a half. TD, Tyron Davenport, joins us live from Nissan Stadium, presented by Freedom Tire Guys, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, online at freedomtireguys.com. TD, the Titans a win, and they're in today. They clinched the AFC South with a victory. Is there a feeling inside the stadium about these stakes of today's game against Miami?
Oh, Sam ain't there.
TD's not there? Okay. Well, then we'll catch up with TD in just a little bit. Again, TD's appearances on the pregame show are always brought to you by Freedom Tire Guys, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, online at freedomtireguys.com. I'll pose it to you, Chris Sanders. Yeah. If you went out there today.
Yes. Oh, he got him.
So we got TD. Okay. So TD joins us now on the program. TD, is it palpable what's at stake today for a win for the Titans inside the stadium? I'm guessing we don't have TD.
Well, guys.
Okay. All right, Chris, I'll pose this question to you. So
I can sound like him.
Welcome to live radio.
If you know that you can clinch the division with a victory today, is there talk about that, or is it on your mind as you get ready for the Dolphins?
But see, guys already know that. Guys already know what's at stake. So if you start talking about it, it creates pressure. I think Mike Vrabel's done a great job by just, telling these guys to focus on what you got to do. Focus on your assignment. Don't focus on everything that's going outside. We can control our destiny. We can control what we need to do to get to the playoffs. I don't think they're talking about it, but everybody just knows because they're in the building.
I think it's the first step. I think, it's a goal, obviously, to win your division because, it enhances your chances for a better seed. But these guys, have some lofty expectations for themselves. And I think winning the division is only the beginning.
Now we've got TD, presented by freedomtireguys.com. So, TD, how much talk has there been today around the Titans possibly winning the AFC South with a victory?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal that they have in front of them, and that's what they want to do. They want to go ahead and secure their second title, and that's something that Ryan Tannehill has spoken about earlier this week, or last week, leading up to the game when I asked him about, going against his former team and getting the chance to end their playoff hopes. He said his focus is solely on winning a second title, for the Titans. That's the goal.
What do we think about the weather conditions? It looks like there could be bad weather later in the day, but still cold weather. Miami, obviously not used to those conditions today. What do we think about the Dolphins and their preparation for playing out of their comfort zone here in Nashville?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's really out of their comfort zone. Although these guys play for the Miami Dolphins, there are plenty of guys who have played in cold weather, that grew up in cold weather. So it's not really an issue, in my opinion. Both teams, are people, right? They put their pants on the same way. So I don't think there really is an advantage one way or the other. They're just going to have to, as Bullock just joined one off the field goal post, they're just going to have to go ahead and play ball. I don't think that the weather is going to be an issue for either team.
We're speaking to Tyron Davenport, of course, who covers the Titans for ESPN and ESPN.com. And we know that Tyron is a bad mutter, and hopefully the Titans will be good ones. But even the matchup itself, Tyron, the Titans, I guess, believe they can run the ball today against the Miami front.
Yeah, they definitely believe that, and they're really going to have to do that, right? Because you want to make the Dolphins pass rushers earn their right to rush the quarterback, and the way you do that is by getting them to pay attention to the run, and that's one way you could kind of wear down the front. And since Henry's been gone, the Titans are averaging 129 per game on the ground, so they clearly can run the football. That sets up the play action, and that makes everything much better for Ryan Tannehill. You want to make the throws easy for him, quick reads, especially against his blitz.
What about on the other side of the ball? Miami throws the ball 65% of the time on first down. How will that dictate what Shane Bowen does with his defensive front?
It's all about attacking, using your stunts and twists and different things to get after the quarterback. That's what you have to do. And I think with that, you could really confuse Tua by showing him something one way, before the snap, and showing him a different picture after the snap, rotating your safeties, at the snap, dropping one of the safeties down in the box to shift from 2 deep to single high, or vice versa, rotating one of the safeties from in the box back to 2 deep, so that way, you give a different look and you confuse them, and that makes them hold the ball a little bit longer. So that's really the key there is just attacking them and confusing them.
TD, a.k.a. How you doing, my man?
Hey, what's going on, Ralph Sampson?
Hey, man, do you think, just looking at both quarterbacks, you have Tua and you have Tannehill, do you think it's a prove-it game for both of these guys, and you think they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulders, proving that they can be a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the big thing for Tua right now. Marcel Louis-Jacques of ESPN.com, he wrote a really good post about whether or not the Dolphins, are making a decision to commit to Tua. And I think, that's something that he wants to prove. And it's just crazy how things have changed. It was tank for Tua, and now it's like, do we want him or not? That's crazy. But I'm sure he has a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to show that he is worthy. And as for Tannehill, that guy is just like so much in his own world. It's interesting to me, how much that guy is just focused on the task at hand. And he's not really concerned about proving that he's a franchise quarterback or anything like that. He just wants to win games for the Titans. And, I think you have to respect that.
Yeah, just looking at the Miami's offense, there's a bad man that plays wide receiver, Waddle. What do the Tennessee Titans need to do to figure out to not give up those big chunks of yards and stop him from making the explosive plays?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Earlier last week I talked to Jackrabbit Jenkins, and he said it turns into where's Waddle, kind of like the where's Waddle reference. Yeah. And they have to know where he is. They move Waddle around all over the place. He'll line up in the backfield. He'll line up in the slot out wide. And when I say in the backfield, that's even in the low red zone, So you see them use him in different ways. It's all about flocking to the football. You got to go there and keep him from being able to, catch that ball and turn upfield, because he has those jets, and he really makes things happen. Then the other thing you got to focus on is just the different motions and eye candy and things that they do. That's something that I talked to Rashaan Evans about, just, being careful of not having your eyes, move away from where the ball is going. And that's what they do with the motions and things like that.
TD, how does David Long Jr. look out on the warm-up field after having missed 6 games with that hamstring?
Oh, you trying to make me smile, huh?
I am.
You say that name, I can't help but smile. I didn't get to see him out here for warm-up. I'm sure that he's inside, stretching that hamstring. It's cold, so you want to make sure that hamstring is loose. I haven't seen him out here, but he's going to play, and that's going to be a treat seeing Long and Zach Cunningham, 2 fast, violent players on the field at the same time. I can't wait to watch that.
TD, what do we make of the field conditions? The bowl game played a couple of days ago, and it looked a little rough on TV in the Music City Bowl. Then again, nobody decided to play defense that day anyways. But I do wonder kind of what the field looks like today, only a couple days removed from a game being played.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So far, it looks good. The middle of the field, that they kind of pulled that up and put new grass down there with the logo. And then there's random patches that they kind of filled in as well. But I haven't seen anybody slipping. Now, of course, these guys are out here. They're not going full go. I think really the key is going to be watching Jackrabbit Jenkins and Christian Fulton. These 2 guys, how they've struggled with footing here at the stadium. So those are going to be the guys to watch. But so far, so good.
TD, around the league, people have sort of minimized the Dolphins' winning streak. There are obviously some glancing blows maybe, but still with Tua, he's been a pretty good short to intermediate route quarterback. What about that, and how did the Titans, get to him and sort of cut down on his elusiveness?
Yeah, I think really it's just coordinating your pass rush, right? You have that outside guy running deep to force him to step up. And then you have the inside guys, Simmons, and those guys collapse in the pocket from the interior. And just kind of, I likened it, and I said this about Lamar Jackson. I likened it to when you watch National Geographic, right? And you see those lions hunting the gazelles. You got one set of them that kind of flops like they chase the gazelle one way into the other set of lions, and that's exactly what you have to do in this case. And anytime you're going against a quarterback like that, you got to just corral him that way and just be careful not to give him passing lanes or rushing lanes, right, to be able to sneak through and break the pocket.
Dolphins have fed off turnovers this year.
Yeah.
How important is it for the Titans to give Tua a long field and sort of challenge him to try to, drive the length of the field?
Well, that's the thing that's really interesting with the Dolphins. Tua has no problem taking those short passes, but sometimes you can get him in a situation where he will press. And you saw that against the Saints. He had an underneath route that was wide open, but he decided to push the ball down the field, and it got intercepted in the middle of the field. So, I think if you could get them behind and just kind of bait him into those throws, you could get some turnovers.
Yeah, just looking at the Tennessee Titans offensive line, the Miami Dolphins have over 40 sacks. What do you think the offensive lines need to stop? How can they stop this pass rush, and how can they stop Tannehill from getting hit?
Yeah, the thing that's interesting with them, and they have 47 sacks, or 45 sacks, leading the league in sacks. And the thing is, that front can get pressure. You got Manny Agba, you got Christian Wilkins, you got one of my favorite pass rushers from this past draft, and Jalen Phillips. He's a freak athlete. So they can get pressure with that front four, but they come behind it with blitzes. You'll see Eric Rowe coming off the edge. You got to make sure that you recognize that. Receivers and quarterbacks got to go hot, and understand that, you got to get off the ball quick and get into your route, and Tannehill has to catch it and throw it quickly as well. And then they like to blitz Jerome Baker, too, along the interior. So it's really about just recognizing those blitzes, man. They blitz more than pretty much any other team in the league, and it's just being on the same page, going hot. Tannehill, he absolutely has to recognize when there's a blocker or, a blitzer that's unaccounted for, and he has to, know when to go hot.
Just looking at A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was a dog last week. We ain't even talking about him. But do you think that Xavier Howard, they're gonna probably match him up with A.J. Brown, or do you think they, how can I say this? How do you think they're gonna match up with A.J. Brown? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think they just play side. Howard is one of those few corners that you do play that cat coverage with. So I would think that they're going to do that. I would expect the Titans to move Brown around, put him in the slot, put him out wide, and do different things like that. I like the matchup, man. It's going to be fun watching those guys go against each other. So I think that they're going to go cat coverage with Brown and Howard matching up.
Tyron Davenport, as always, presented by Freedom Tire Guys, online at freedomtireguys.com. TD, Happy New Year. Appreciate it. And we will look for all your breakdowns after the game.
Thanks. Happy New Year. Appreciate you guys.
Yep, TD joining us on the program. By the way, Chris, you used to play on that grass. You heard TD say apparently there are totally new end zones today.
Oh, my goodness.
So there will be no logos in the end zone. Normally they painted the colors for the Music City Bowl.
Right.
In fact, I think you remember playing in that red end zone in that one playoff game, and Floyd said they would never do that again. The grass at this stadium is terrible.
They can't put a little T in the end zone?
No T in the end zone.
Yeah, it's going to be a mess. It is. And I think just it's going to hurt both sides of the ball. The defensive line that has a ferocious pass rush, they're not going to be able to dig in and try to get to the quarterback. So guys are going to be slipping. You're going to see A.J. Brown slipping. Wide receivers going to be slipping all day. So it is a bad surface.
Coming up next, our picks to click. Plus, we'll take a look at kind of the rest of the AFC, what we could expect from there, and we'll take a look at the sports books and make our game day predictions. All that coming up. It's the pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Coming up next hour on NFL Pregame, Jared, Chris, and Mark make their picks to click and final predictions for the upcoming game. We're inching closer to kickoff, and you're listening to NFL Pregame on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage apparel and shoe needs. We've partnered with 102.5 The Game to provide you all with an exclusive discount today. Come to our shop today, located in East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, and say The Game at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. If you're unable to make it in, we got something for you as well. All of our products in store are also available on our website at musiccityvtg.com. Just use promo code GAME at checkout and get 10% off your order.
You already know the best burger place in town is Joyland in East Nashville. Now it's your chance to work for them. Joyland is looking for cooks to join their incredible team as soon as possible. Joyland offers employee benefits like insurance, HSA, FSA plans, short-term disability, $1,000 baby bonus for anyone that is expecting or adopting, paid time off, travel discounts, $350 bonus after 60 days, and more. Email info@eatjoyland.com to apply now. Joyland is an equal opportunity employer.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life."
I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub.
It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Greatest invention ever. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
With Mercari, your unneeded things can find a new life.
Hello, hello.
Easily list and sell,
I know why you say goodbye, and I say hello.
or discover great finds.
Hello.
Buy or sell almost anything.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
Download Mercari on the app stores or at Mercari.com. Mercari, your marketplace.
This is NFL Pregame. And it's time for Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard to make their picks to click. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Time for our picks to click, presented every week by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Chris
Yes,
Sanders,
sir.
Mark Howard, and yours truly. Nobody got Jimmy Garoppolo as their pick to click on defense last week, but there's no doubt Jimmy helped play a role in the Titans' victory. It's time now to make our picks to click. Who's got a click today for a victory over the Dolphins? Chris Sanders on offense. We start with you.
I am going to go with Foreman. And the reason why I'm going to go with Foreman because it's one of those games and the weather's going to be bad that we definitely have to run the ball. I mean, don't put the ball in Tannehill's hands. Let somebody run the football. I'm going to go with Foreman. I was going to go with Hilliard, but I'm going to go with Foreman.
Wow, interesting choice. I'm going to be Captain Obvious here and go with A.J. Brown.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Quite a reach, but he was the man last week, and there's no reason to believe he won't be today.
So I will say this. Surely they're not going to let A.J. Brown dominate the football game today. Right?
Don't let the big man beat you.
Surely, Chris Sanders,
Yes,
you've
sir.
been out there before against teams that do crazy stuff like the Niners did last
that
week.
That was crazy.
Surely a defensive coach, Brian Flores, is not going to let A.J. Brown do
They said the same thing when Chris played. They could only hope to contain him.
Absolutely. I mean, they're not going to – A.J. Brown maybe have 6 catches. That's still a lot, but they're going to take him out of the game.
I'm going to go with my pick to click. Somebody's got to step up in the red zone that's not A.J. Brown. They got to find somebody to go to. They got to find a target.
Uh-oh.
Jeff Swain.
That's who I'm going with.
No.
I think that the Titans are going to get the ball into the red zone today.
Time out.
Who's going to catch the ball in the red zone? Are they going to force it to force it to AJ? I don't think they're going to. I think that you're going to try. Somebody's got to be Tannehill's guy in the red zone. And right now, Swaim has probably been, I know this is going to sound crazy, probably the second most effective pass catcher on the team this year.
Which tells you that one of John Robinson's big goals in the offseason is to get a better red zone threat. But anyway.
Multiple better red zone threats.
Time out. Why when I said Foreman, y'all gave me just the stankiest look ever?
Well, I thought you were going to A.J. Brown.
No,
that would have been the obvious one.
No, I have no problem with Foreman. I love to run the ball.
And you went with Swain. How many passes he caught this year? About 8?
No, I think Swaim's probably the third leading receiver on the team right now.
No, I don't know.
I mean, Swaim's caught a lot of random balls. He doesn't do anything with it, but they do throw it to him. He catches and he falls down.
Let me ask you a random question here. With Foreman's body of work, do you keep him over Darrington Evans?
Yes,
absolutely.
And I'd keep McNichols over Darrington Evans.
All right.
And I'd keep Hilliard over Darrington Evans. And I'd bring back Rodney Thomas, may he rest in peace, and put him in over Evans.
Wow.
And I'd put Skip Hicks in over Evans.
I was just going to go with Skip Hicks.
And I might put DeJuan Hicks in over there.
DeJuan Hicks.
Former MTSU star.
There you go. Defensively, Chris Sanders, who's going to click tonight?
And I know you get mad at me because I pick the dude every week, and I'm going to pick him again, Byard. And the reason why I say Byard is I think Tua's going to throw a couple of interceptions. He's going to read Tua's eyes. And
You're not going to give Hooker any love on the interceptions?
No, that's
big interception last week.
Yeah, he had a great interception last week, but I think Byard's due for one, because he's reading the quarterback's eyes, and I think that Tua stares down his receivers, and I think that Byard's going to have a big pick. I'm not saying a pick six, but he's going to get a crucial pick.
I'm picking Danico Autry because he makes Jeffrey Simmons better. I think the two of them running their games on the interior can take advantage of the Dolphins' soft underbelly and facilitate a lot of pressure on Tua, a lot of interior pressure on Tua. He hates interior pressure.
So I'm going to go with Bud Dupree for almost the same reason that you did with, I think Bud makes everybody better on that line. I think Tua's going to try to run away from one guy, and that's where Bud's got to be there as soon as he runs away to go there and hit him. But I do want to take a second just to spend some time talking about Buster Skrine, because I do think Buster Skrine has been a huge impact addition on the Titans. Every time the trade deadline comes around, we talk about trades in the NFL. The Titans never make them. NFL trades are not like these other sports where guys go and add people at the deadline to gear up for a playoff run. But I think Buster Skrine has been a much-needed piece to the puzzle that the Titans went out and added about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He's off the COVID list. He's back today. And I think Buster Skrine makes that secondary a lot better.
I think he's better than Jack Rabbit Jenkins.
Yeah.
And you're right. This is the perfect scheme for him. He's a zone corner, and he's comfortable here. And for whatever reason, you're right. He has come in and played some of his best football. I mean, the guy has been a journeyman player, and they found, they found a good place for him.
Yeah, and the reason why he's comfortable is because they're putting pressure on the quarterback.
Yep.
And when they're putting pressure on the quarterback, you can just do your job and sit there and pick the ball up. So, I think it's a great addition, and I agree with you. I agree with both of you guys that he makes that secondary better. Why? Because the front is playing outstanding.
Coming up on the other side, we'll take a look at the sports books, and we'll make our final game day predictions. And there is a big one out there for the Titans that we will get to next, and we will do that. It's the pregame show on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Shot by Forsberg. Johansson backhander. He scores. To put it away.
The Predators dominate the Blackhawks with a 6-1 victory on New Year's Day at Bridgestone Arena.
We found a way to win, and we'll take it.
Now they head west for a date with the Golden Knights in Vegas on Tuesday. Pregame at 8, puck drop at 9 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands, now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress, now $300. $200 bar stools, now for $59. $1,000 sofas, now $499. And recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. With Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, get a unit that lasts with their 10-year parts and labor warranty. Get ahead of the game now and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no-interest financing and 10 years parts and labor warranty on all new units. Restrictions apply and not available on all equipment. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
BetOnline.net still has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march through the College Bowl season and the Pro Football Playoffs. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports info, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline.net has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live, real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
Block heartburn all day and all night with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Let's play some football! Later today, it's a late season NFC matchup with seeding implications.
In the end zone, it is Schultz for the touchdown.
As the Cowboys host the Cardinals.
James Conner into the end zone for the touchdown.
Coverage begins at 2:45
on ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Time to take a look at the sports books on the pregame show presented by FanDuel Sportsbooks. The latest odds on today's game brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook and my official sportsbook app. So, we've got the Titans, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there are two other noon kickoffs that are big games for the Titans. The Raiders are 8-point dogs on the road. Carson Wentz will start today for the Indianapolis Colts. They're favored by 8 over the Raiders, a Colts loss, and regardless of what the Titans do, today they are in as the champions of the AFC South. 8 points, though, Mark Howard, that's a lot
I don't think
to
the
be
Raiders,
spotting the Raiders.
I would take the Colts for the farm. The Colts are smoking hot right now.
They are.
Jonathan Taylor is
I'm not a huge
unbelievable.
Colts believer right now.
I am. You ain't
Okay.
he ain't watching football, Mark.
I mean, they barely won that Arizona game, and Arizona's gone right in the toilet.
But in Arizona, though, that's tough to win.
The hardest place to play in the NFL, Arizona.
There you go.
I mean, the Rams went into Arizona and embarrassed them on national TV, too. I think the Rams are a good team, but they're fine. Like, okay.
Well, let me ask you this, Mark and Jared. Who's the hottest team right now, Tennessee Titans or the Indianapolis Colts?
No, I said, listen, I'm bullish on the Colts.
Me too. I'm 100% with you.
I think the Colts are one of those teams that they're going to make it. I think they'll have a good first-round game against either Buffalo or Cincinnati. Like, I think that'll be a good first-round game. I don't know who will win. But then when they have to go to Kansas City or something, they're going to get smoked. They're going to get spanked. Dome team goes on the road to Kansas City? No. See ya. Goodbye. I'm not. This idea that the Colts are red hot and Jonathan Taylor's going to carry them to the Super Bowl, they are not there for me.
I didn't say that. I said today.
Against the Raiders at home.
Against the addled Raiders.
Now, here's the bigger one for the Titans.
Right.
Kansas City, 3.5-point favorites at Cincinnati. I think it is a disservice to America that the game of the week is Cowboys and Cardinals, and that the Sunday night game is Sean Mannion and the Vikings against the Packers, and we're not going to get to watch Kansas City and the Bengals. This one, huge implications for the Titans. Joe Burrow last week, 325 yards passing, albeit against a terrible Ravens defense that's just absolutely gutted by COVID and injuries. They are 3.5-point dogs at home to the Chiefs. If the Chiefs lose, the Titans can reclaim the #1 seed and the potential bye in the AFC playoffs.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I could see the Bengals giving the Chiefs all they can handle. That line went from 4 to 3.5, so some late money believes in Cincinnati. And this is a team not lacking in firepower. So Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah, I just think the Chiefs would probably win is because, man, they're just playing with so much confidence right now. I mean, I know they started off slow and everybody was counting them out. They have a chip on their shoulder. Everybody's playing well. Kelsey's playing well. All those receivers are playing well. You just got a team that's playing with a lot of confidence. That's what makes them dangerous.
Yeah, there's a super up on the Fox pregame show. Are the Titans good enough to make the Super Bowl? That's one of the big questions. And around the league, everybody's dismissing the Titans. It would be funny to me if they ended up as the number 1 seed.
Wow.
So I'm going to tell you right now, they got Terry laughing, they got Strahan laughing, they got Charles Woodson laughing. I'm going to guess all three said no when the question was, are the Titans good enough to make the Super Bowl? I go back to this Bengals-Chiefs game. I think that, like, for the Titans against the Dolphins, for me, the thing that matters is, all right, can the Titans put these average AFC teams in the rearview mirror and get to where we can focus about the teams they're going to have to beat in order to go to the Super Bowl? Because the road to the Super Bowl right now is going to be the Chargers at home, then probably New England or Indianapolis at home, then on the road to Kansas City. And the Dolphins are not in that class. I think for Kansas City and for my Cincinnati, I think this is a big game for Cincinnati at home. It's like, okay, you guys showed us that you're going to stick around this year and probably make the playoffs. Joe Burrow has shown us that he's probably going to be worth that number 1 pick. Can you beat Kansas City at home? For Kansas City, I think it's you've been beating the Broncos, you've been beating the Raiders. Yeah, you beat the Chargers when that coach stupidly went for it on every 4th down and won that game in overtime.
Thought he was playing Madden.
But can you beat a bona fide playoff team on the road? This is a big game for me, Kansas City, for both teams.
National media usually makes its judgments on schedule legitimacy. And who's more legitimate than the Titans in terms of the teams they beat? Yeah, I know they lost to the Jets and Texans.
Well, the illegitimate losses are what's holding the Titans back.
No, I know that, but I just laugh.
And throw the Steelers in there, too, because they're awful.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I look at
They're
this.
mediocre. I don't know if they're awful.
Oh, they're awful. Did you watch them last week?
Yeah.
Awful. I was more embarrassed that the Titans lost that game. I picked the Titans to lose. Then they lost, and I was more upset because I had less respect for the Steelers after they lost that game. Then I watched the Steelers last week, and I think the Steelers, Tomlin is going to coach them up to 7 or 8 wins this year. But they could be just as bad as some of these bad teams in the NFL. They're awful. But I think the bigger thing, though, is do we really think Cincinnati's got a shot to win this game to get the Titans the 1 seed?
They have a shot.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're going to win, but they've got a shot.
The good thing about it is they're at home. So I think that might be, something you could take in hand because I know that the Kansas City Chiefs are a hot team, but it's just something about playing in a different stadium that they might make some mistakes.
Puncher's chance, as they would say.
The Titans are -3 today, -164 on the money line. The Dolphins +138. Any thoughts on player passing yards, what you would put the number at Ryan Tannehill today?
I say 187.
I'll say 228.
223 for Tannehill.
Come on, Mark. That's
Tua.
pretty good.
Tua. 237.
I say 198.
I'm about to put my hands over the phone so Mark can't see. 240 and a half for Tua.
Oh, my God.
Mark,
You're on
right
fire.
on the money there. Receiving yards for A.J. Brown.
89.
94.
71 and a half.
I was close.
Meanwhile, Jalen Waddle is at 70 and a half. Mike Gesicki, 41 and a half. Jeff Swaim, 15 and a half. Devontae Parker, 47 and a half. And Anthony Ferkser, 10 and a half.
Where's Swain at?
Devontae Parker.
Where's Swain?
15 and a half.
Is the guy they can't get rid of. He's like the Christmas fruitcake that nobody wants.
Actually, I think he's a pretty good player.
He is a good player.
I mean, I think he would be the second best wide receiver here. And it's not even.
He
He's
hasn't been
better
very
than
good
Julio.
there.
No, he's been good. Every time they want to get rid of him, he goes out and catch 3 touches. He's
going to be all right.
I think he's a pretty good player. Running the ball, Deontay Foreman is 50 and a half today. As far as running the football is concerned. Time to make our game day selections. Who wins today and why? Our final game picks are brought to you every week by Social Furniture. Located at 5412 Charlotte Avenue in Nashville. Shop local, shop social. And again, the AFC South hangs in the balance today. Who wins and why? Titans and Dolphins. Chris Sanders.
Man, I'm going to go 20-17 Dolphins.
What?
The reason why I'm going with the Dolphins, I just think that they're a red-hot team right now. They're hot right now. I mean, when you have a team that's coming in with confidence and believes, that's a dangerous team. And, you know, it's just one of those games that you just like, the Titans should blow them out. And I may be wrong, but it's just also this team believes that they can do it. They believe that they can compete with any team in the league. And just listening to them talk and do interviews, you're dealing with a confident team now, and that's a scary team.
So there will be a volcano that erupts at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon if the Titans lose this football.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just telling you, like, to me, this is we just talked about Terry Bradshaw talking about whether or not the Titans can win the Super Bowl. And here we are talking about the Dolphins. If the Titans can't beat the Dolphins today, I will just throw the warning sign up there. Everybody, please get to your radios or your phones or however you listen, YouTube, however you listen to the Stillman and Company program, because tomorrow at 2 o'clock, it will be a reckoning if the Titans don't win this game. Mark, who wins today and why?
You know, I want to remind you guys, I said Titans 20-16 over the 49ers. They won 20-17.
Ooh.
I'm saying 27-17 Titans. I think they win handily. They're rested. They're ready.
I'm with Mark. I cannot see the Titans losing this game. I just can't. I'm going to go with the Titans. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be really ugly today. I think the Titans are going to win.
Remember that movie, There Will Be Blood? That's what's going to happen if they don't win.
Well, this reminds me like the Chris Sanders teams. You know, they didn't blow everybody out when you guys were 13-3. And this team without Derrick Henry, I'm not sure they're capable of blowing people out. I'm going to take the Titans 13-9. I think the game will ultimately 13-9. I think the game will come down to Tua, and I think he will make a mistake, and he will lose it for them. So I'll take the Titans 13-9. But I just want everybody out there to know that if Chris Sanders is right and if the Titans lose, Lord help all of us tomorrow at 2 o'clock. That's all I have to say about that. That's going to do it for us. We're going to be back next week before the Titans take on the Texans. Time TBD as to what time that kickoff will be. But we will have the pregame show for you. For Chris Sanders and Mark Howard, Jared Stillman, we will see you next week. And again, full reaction tomorrow at 2 o'clock. This has been ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Good job.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice